Welcome to Cyber Bites, your weekly dose of cybersecurity news. I'm your host, Edwin Kwan, and today we have some significant stories that are shaking up the digital landscape. Grab your headphones and let's dive in. First up, we have a major change from tech giants Microsoft and Google. They are disabling basic authentication for emails. Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal? Well, basic authentication is an outdated method which transmits usernames and passwords in plain text. It makes it incredibly vulnerable to theft. Starting soon, millions of devices will be affected by this change. Think about all those older devices we often overlook. You've got your security cameras, your printers, scanners, and even network firewalls. If you're using any of these devices in your office or home, you might run into some disruptions. The reason behind this shift is simple. It's for security. By disabling basic authentication, Microsoft and Google are pushing users to adopt a more secure method called OAuth 2.0. This newer method generates unique tokens for each device, making it much harder for hackers to steal your credentials. Many older devices may only support basic authentication. If you have equipment that hasn't been updated in a while, it could be time to do a checkup. So what does this mean for you? So you might experience disruptions to email alerts from your security cameras. There might be an inability to scan documents directly to email using your printers, and there might be unexpected issues for businesses relying on these functionalities. If you manage IT for a business, or even if you aren't just tech savvy, if you manage IT for a business, or if you're just a tech-savvy individual, here are some steps to take. Check with your IT department about device compatibility with OAuth 2.0. Update device firmware whenever possible, and consider using alternative solutions for email alerts. By transitioning to a more secure method, we can protect ourselves from credential stuffing attacks and improve overall email security. But remember, this change may require some adjustments. Next up is cybersecurity giant Fortinet, which has confirmed a data breach involving a limited number of customers in their Asia-Pacific region. They claim that the incident was confined to a third-party cloud storage service and did not affect their core operations. According to their statement, they believe Fortinet has released a statement saying that unauthorized access occurred on a limited number of files on a third-party cloud device. They insist Fortinet states that unauthorized access occurred on a limited number of files on a third-party cloud drive. They insist that this breach impacted less than 0.3% of their customers and involved only limited data. However, a hacker using the alias 40bitch claims otherwise. They allege they stole a staggering 440 gigabytes of data from Fortinet's Azure SharePoint server and leaked it online. While Fortinet downplays the incident as minor, the hackers' claims raise questions about the actual size of the breach and whether sensitive government data was involved. Fortinet has engaged forensics experts to investigate the incident further and has implemented measures to prevent future breaches. This situation serves as a crucial reminder that even cybersecurity companies must remain vigilant against threats. Now, let's shift gears to Australia, where new laws are being introduced to combat scams that cost Australians an astounding $2.74 billion last year alone. The government is stepping up by holding banks, telecommunications companies, and tech giants accountable for preventing scams. Under these new laws, companies will face mandatory code outlining their obligations to prevent scams. Victims can seek compensation from any party involved in the scam through the Australian Financial Complaints Authority. And unlike the UK model that places primary responsibility on banks, Australia will adopt a shared liability approach. And for the first time, companies like Facebook and Google will be held responsible for scams on their platforms. Now, the tech sector has pushed back against these mandatory codes, but consumer advocates are largely supportive of these changes. This move aims not only to deter scams, but also to provide victims with greater recourse when they fall prey to fraudulent schemes. In Sydney, restaurants are facing a troubling online voucher scam that exploit vulnerabilities in Square's point-of-sales system. Here's how it works. Scammers would first purchase vouchers online using stolen credit cards or by fraudulently claiming their own card was stolen after purchase. They dine at restaurants using these vouchers, then they initiate chargebacks with their financial institutions claiming the purchases were unauthorized. And then Square would automatically deduct the disputed amount from the restaurant's account. This scam is hitting small businesses hard. For example, Seoul Dining lost over $2,400 due to this scam. And Loca Viet Fusion faced a $145 chargeback for fraudulent vouchers. Restaurants are understandably concerned about their financial stability during tough economic times. Square acknowledges this issue and recommends enabling 3DS technology, which is a security feature requiring buyers to verify their identity through their banks. If you're running a restaurant using Square for online vouchers, consider implementing these security features. Finally, let's talk about Transport for London, which is dealing with the aftermath of a cyber attack that compromised staff data. The attack targeted Transport for London's directory system, but thankfully did not expose sensitive customer data like bank details or home addresses. As a precautionary measure, all 30,000 employees must reset their passwords in person. This means staff will need to be physically verify their identity before they are allowed access. Transport for London has activated business continuity plans to minimize disruptions during this process, and employees will receive updates via WhatsApp from their managers. In an interesting twist, authorities arrested a 17-year-old in connection with this cyber attack, but later released him on bail. The incident underscores the importance of robust cybersecurity measures for critical infrastructure like public transport systems. That wraps up this week's of Cyber Bytes. Remember, staying informed is one of our best defenses against cyber threats. Whether it's updating our devices or being aware of scams targeting small businesses, knowledge is power. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time with more updates from the world of cybersecurity. This is Edwin Kwan. Stay safe out there.